running this. I would be running this webinar from PF Chang's, and then it would kick me out after 15 minutes in the middle of the webinar. So I flew down the Vegas streets to get back to the hotel.
Wow, you're a rock star right now.
Yeah. Sorry, I got some feedback here.
Yep, let me see.
Test. Little feedback, we'll get it done. How about now? That sound good, Lisa? Good deal. All right, well, welcome everyone. Thanks for, oh my gosh, Lisa, we're 30 seconds in of opening and we've already exceeded our past webinar. So no pressure or anything. So
No, I like the pressure. Let's go.
This is great. This is great. Well, thanks everyone for joining. We're going to give everyone time to be admitted into the Zoom room, but and then we'll get to know a little bit about Lisa and the topic tonight. So just hang tight for now. And for those that have joined, greetings from Las Vegas on a work trip. I'm looking at I don't have a strip view because the room was discounted at $69 a night. So I'm looking at the Palms Hotel, which is not on the strip. So, and staying in the Rio, which is seen better days, but is a very lovely room.
So don't be surprised when someone comes knocking on your door at the Rio asking for you, because now you just told everybody.
Oh, all right. We're up to 160. Oh, it's still going up. So I'll do some very introductory comments while we're waiting. Adriana's running things behind the scenes. As always, thank you to Adriana, who Lisa got to meet, I think a few weeks ago. So both of you were able to put faces to a name. This is our third webinar of our quote unquote off season. It's a high demand and we've opened it up to everyone, not just NISO members, because we feel the topic is so important and we have a high quality speaker to do that with in Lisa, who will learn a little bit about in a little bit. This is the third. We have one more webinar that will take place on June 11th. This is a joint webinar with the ECSR group, and we're going to have a special guest, Rich Grady, coming to speak to us about the new rules for the 2024 calendar or 2024 soccer season. All right, 6:03. I think we have people still joining, so let me welcome everyone. So thank you once again for joining our third webinar in the NISOA series. We are recording this just as a heads up, and a few housekeeping details. We do have the chat turned off, not because we don't want questions, but we are encouraging you to use the Q&A. That way we can track them better to give to Lisa. We can speak on them, and it allows you to ask questions anonymously. If there's something you are not comfortable with attaching your name to, a little shy about, no problem. Use the anonymous feature. Please utilize the Q&A. We will get that there. Another housekeeping detail is that we do have some some of you submitted questions ahead of time. No, Lisa has the answers. We have the questions.
I hope so. We'll see. We'll see.
So we do have those just for those who did bring those in, that we do have those available that we will discuss. So those are the two housekeeping things. I may mention that one more time, Lisa, in case we have some late arrivals. But with that, I want to introduce Lisa Bontasumi. This is actually our first time meeting, but she comes highly regarded. I've read her bio, but I think there's no better person to give her bio than Lisa herself. So Lisa, tell us a little bit about yourself. We'll get to know you a little bit.
Corey, thanks so much. I was going to ask you to actually, if we were waiting for more people to come in to sing a song for us or something. But as Corey said, my name's Lisa Bontasumi. I'm a licensed mental health clinician, so medical provider. So I'm able to diagnose, treat, intervene, and plan for the prevention of mental health disorders. And if someone has one, be able to make sure that they are healthy within that disorder. The mental health disorder is not, the end game. It's not like, okay, you're done and just give up. It's something that we can work with. Just like when we get the diagnosis of diabetes, we know now what it is and we know now how to treat it. So that's exactly what I do. Alongside that, I'm also a mental performance consultant. So I went back to school and have a sports psychology focus as well. So I help with folks to be athletes, to be full human beings in all of their identities and all of their relationships, as well as how to perform and create their mental game on the pitch. referees are high performers. So I'm gonna say it again. You all probably know that referees are high performers, and a lot of you were former athletes yourself. I think referees are athletes. So y'all be running around a lot. Like it's I would never do it. So hats off to all of you. And there's a mental side to how you approach your profession as well. So currently I am the mental performance coach for the Oakland Roots Sports Club, the men's first team. They compete in the USL, as you know, the second division below the MLS. We have an academy team as well, and a WSL women's team, shorter season, pre-professional, all humans playing their sport. Let's see, what else can I say? Because of the visibility and work I've done with the Roots, parents, siblings, coaches, ADs are all asking me, referees, how do I take care of myself or my loved one's mental health? I'm like, oh gosh. Well, I want to be that person. I can't. So I built a team to respond to that need. It's important for me to I can't say no, but I will always say yes and this, or yes over there, or I'll delegate or put you in front of somebody.
Right.
So Mindset is a team of licensed mental health clinicians across several states in the US, and then mental performance coaches across the states as well as into Mexico. And I can talk a little bit again about the difference. One's a medical health provider. One is a mental performance coach. Both are master's level, highly trained, and very equipped to do their jobs. What else can I say? I grew up playing soccer. I reffed when I was a teenager.
Oh, look at that. I was going to ask you how you got into soccer, Lisa.
Yeah. Little side gig. A lot of you probably did the refereeing on the side. Now you're more serious, but I played soccer age 7 to 18. I got injured on my way to college, and I could not mentally or physically rehab myself back to collegiate level play. My family didn't have the resources or wherewithal to really put me in front of the people that needed to help me. And so I floundered and struggled a lot the first 2 years of college, trying to figure out who am I now that I don't have my sport. Not knowing how to eat right because I'm not competing, not knowing how to interact, socialize with all my friends were my teammates, and they're gone. And so I don't know how to do it. So my mentors and my coaches. So I have a deep love so I'm giving sign language to my son. Yes, son. Now I'm doing this webinar. He's wanting mochi ice cream. Who likes mochi ice cream? Can I have one or two? I was like, and so my niece plays professionally in Brazil.
Okay.
And she represents the Philippine women's national team as well.
Wow.
My brothers played in college as well. And so soccer is my thing. It's a sport I know the best.
Yeah.
And so I'm happy to be here to help with the mental side of things from a clinical standpoint. And then
yeah. Before we get into some of the questions, I see that Adriana posted a link to your company, App Mindset. What are some of the tell us a little bit about the company, why you started, and maybe what I don't know if you get into specific clients, but maybe groups of people you've serviced since starting the company.
For sure. Yeah. App Mindset. So we have 20 clinicians, 20 mental performance coaches. We have contracts with colleges, schools, teams. So we might do coaching training, referee training on just signs and symptoms of mental health within yourself and for the people that you work with, your players, your teammates, your colleagues. I have a podcast, so have about 100 episodes right now, talking to anyone in the sport ecosystem who has something to say about mental health, their own journey or their commentary on the situation of it in sports. And I have a workbook that I co-wrote where you can actually get in there and nitty gritty and write and scan QR codes and journal and learn and reflect. So trying to get it out to all the different kinds of learners. And try to just get the information out. It's so important to get accurate information and education out there.
Right. That's great. That's great. Well, there definitely will refer back to the website that Adriana posted in the chat later. But definitely, if you like what you hear today, there's definitely you can't have too much of it for sure. And Adriana also just posted a link to your podcast as well. So Lisa, one of the first things you said was about mental performance. Not just with players, but with the referees as well. So we have one of the pre-questions conversations we had was it's the, for example, I have a game in Portland coming up tomorrow. The week leading up to a game or to our college game coming up, what is the best type of mental preparation to do? You know, both leading up to the game and then once we get to the day of game. What are your initial thoughts there? I know there's no one size fits all, but you probably have some of the best practices at least you can share.
What I find, yes, every human who's happens to be a referee has different ways that they cope and things that like they've tried and they really like and have stuck with them.
Yeah.
I like to do with the referees could be idea of like visualizing how I want the game to go.
Mm-hmm.
Not just the call I'm going to make or not make, but the presence I'm going to bring to the game. I'm committed to being, 100% effort. I know I'm not perfect. I'm going to do the best I can. I'm going to lean on my other referees. I'm going to like be in there and be the human that I am, love what I do, but like visualize it, like see yourself running the field, see yourself seeing the calls, like put yourself in it like a 5-dimensional movie.
Mm-hmm.
See yourself the way you want it to be. See some adversity, see yourself moving through that adversity and getting on the other side. Like I don't know if this is more normal or adverse anymore, but like a player like contesting your call, like that happens every single match. And so how do you handle it? What are the tools that you have as a referee in your profession, but also the mental tools of like how you want it to be. So in the game, if that happens, being able to take that breath, regulating your emotions is really, really important in a high emotional, really high performing moment so that you're solid and centered. So any work you can do leading up to the match and then in the match is going to help. Like a breath like this, though. Right? So you can do that when you're warming up. You can do that right before you blow the whistle. You can do that like at halftime. That's a box breath. You can do several of those.
Right.
Calms the brain, calms the body, gets you back. You're good.
Right. Would you recommend you in that mental preparation where you're visualizing yourself as the positive and how you're going to handle situations, how you're going to interact with your team? Would you recommend watching game film? Would you recommend watching yourself, other referees? Is there a game film preparation leading up to that? Or are you thinking more, this is a mental exercise of more like a meditation, a set meditation?
That's a great question. I call it mental rehearsal
Mm-hmm.
or like imaging yourself, like you're watching yourself in a movie.
Yeah.
Okay? I know you all are perfectionists. So if you watch film of yourself, you're going to critique it up and down.
Yeah.
About the ways that I messed up, or I should have got that call, or I should have done. Like that's not helpful for you. You write your own story.
Right.
You do it from a mental standpoint. Watch yourself. You can even write a script. This is how I want it to go. Write it. Rehearse that. Read it over and over. Write it. And so any kind of match, whether it's low level or higher level, bigger stakes game, preparation is the same.
Right.
Share.
Okay. That's a great point. Doesn't matter how big the game is, whether it's because we're not all going to get the Division I final, but this may be the last game those seniors play on an NAIA field, for example, in Kansas. And it means the world to them. So
exactly. So you bring your best self. They're trying to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's maybe there are several 20-somethings on the phone that have never practiced something like this before. And I like how you said write a script. What are some other techniques for people that have never done mental exercises before leading up to a game? What's a great place to start? You know, if you're in their shoes, how would she start if she wants to try it for the first time?
So I would simply, if you could, just find a quiet place and just close your eyes and listen to yourself breathe and see yourself just for like a few seconds. Then that's it. Come out of it. You're good. You can also just kind of like daydream. One of my teenagers I was working with earlier, he's a football player. He's like, yeah, I was daydreaming. I was like, oh, you were mentally rehearsing about how he wanted his next practice to go. You can just sit there and like stare out and be like, this is how I want it to go. And I see it right now. I can see which uniform I'm going to sport, which whistle, who my team is. Like, okay, cool. And that's it.
Yeah.
Any little things are going to help you have that extra confidence and motivation when the season's going on forever and ever. And like you have another game, sometimes 2 games a week that you have to ref, like 3 days, 4 games a week. Like I know your schedules can vary a lot,
Right.
But like being able to just take that moment. Sometimes we don't even feel like we can pause.
Right. Is that the overall goal, Lisa, you would say, is just to build the confidence to a maximum level as we step on and that whistle blows for the first time?
I think that and being able to regulate your emotions when it gets hot.
Regulate your emotion. Oh, great point. I know we have several questions about regulating your emotions. And Amy, thank you, Amy, for the question. She wants to talk about emotions and she takes things to heart, as many of us do. For her, maybe showing her heart, and for me too, it can be a weakness. How do you let it go to not let it get under your skin? So now we talked about the preparation, but now we're in game. How do we get that, keep that mental strength? In
Well, it's
that situation?
interesting because old school way of mental strength is to not let it get under our skin.
Mm-hmm.
It's like just keep going, pushing through no matter what.
Yeah.
Mental toughness and resilience, mental fitness nowadays is accepting and expecting that things are going to get under your skin. Why wouldn't they? You're a human, you care, you have
Right.
emotion. So what is your response when they do get under your skin? It's not, you're not weak, but in a moment of adversity or challenge, you have to have mindful, skillful responses and strategies already on your toolbox on the side you're going to pull from for that situation. So
Right.
first of all, perfectionist referees, you will have something get under your skin. How you respond and soothe yourself and regulate so you can get on with the task at hand is going to be key. The breath is what I talked about,
Right.
right? And take and just like centering yourself with self-talk. I'm good. I'm good. On to the next. Like, come on, let's go. Like the same way an athlete would. You'll
Right.
pull from that from when you guys were competing, right? At
Right.
whatever level you were at. So I think the first thing is to accept you're going to have these emotions, not pretend that they don't exist. And then what is your response to get you back into ref sort of zone to do your job and not let the emotions impact you negatively.
Right. It's interesting you say that, Lisa. When I first started in refereeing and started working my way up, it was a quick, sharp signal as quickly as possible and look confident whether you're right or wrong. And now there's more, I think, to your point, and I think this is where the mental part comes in, is now take the breath, look around, and then make the confidence signal.
Yes.
So
You
yeah,
run the game. Refs, you run the game.
yeah,
So you run the pace of it. So take that control and agency, and like take those moments for yourself. Like
right,
when players are getting water, or there's an injury timeout or stoppage in play, go ahead and take your breath, recenter.
right.
I'm good. I'm good. This is fun. I'm enjoying this. I play an important role in these players' lives right now in this game. That type of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, we're getting a few questions about the breathing techniques. In game, what about halftime? Do you have any suggestions, for your Oakland Roots players, for example? Do you give any suggestions to them in game, halftime, etc.?
Every player on my team has a pregame, halftime, and postgame routine.
Okay.
I recommend that there's some kind of pause or breath or centering moment that's included in that routine.
Okay.
So referees, if you don't have one, I would recommend, yes, pre-match, halftime, and post-match routine. As simple as that might be. It can mean, I'm going to listen to this music or this song before I get on, or I'm going to take
Right.
these 4 box breaths before I get on. At
Right.
time, I'm actually going to hydrate, fuel, use a restroom perhaps, change my shirt even maybe or something. And then maybe just even close your eyes for just 5 minutes and be like, this is what my intention is for the rest of the game. I'm going to have grace for myself and the players. I'm going to do the best I can. And I'm going to, like represent myself with the most pride and respect. What's the intention going in? And then your mind is going to be like, oh, I'm getting instructions. So
Right.
every decision you make, with this happening on an ongoing, persistent, consistent basis, your mind is going to favor the decisions that want you to be in that way. If that makes
Right.
sense. If
That
I
makes
want to act with self-respect, these are decisions that my brain's going to have me choose to be in that role.
Yeah. Your teams, you have dozens of players on the team. We have a 4-person crew, 3 minimum, 4 maximum.
Yep.
Does your team share what those activities are with the others? Like, does your defender know what the goalkeeper does beforehand, or do they more general and I'm gonna relate this back to refereeing. Should we tell, hey, I need 5 minutes to do this, or how do we approach that in our pregame?
My thing is like with the guys, they probably don't say like, hey, this is my routine. What's yours?
Yeah.
They're gonna see each other doing it in the locker room.
Okay.
They probably have noticed over the years what they do. You've seen them kind of run onto the field and they're like pulling grass and hopping over the line and da 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 da. They have their whole thing. A lot
Right.
of them do stuff in the locker room. They have their locker room set up with things. And then they do a post the same way. I feel like every player, knowing that they're doing it, empowers them to also do it and know that we're all on the same page, trying to be the best we can to win. That's what we need
Right.
to do, right? So if there's a 4-person crew or 3, it'd be cool to say like, hey, like let's all take 10 minutes or 5 minutes to do our pre-game routine or pre-match routine.
Right.
Everybody goes off into their thing. They warm up together. A lot of times I see them do
Right.
thing. And so like, why not have your mental warm up as well?
Right. Right. Totally makes sense. I've kind of jumped in between. I think they're both important, both in game and pregame. Let's say your routine gets off pregame. You're stuck in traffic. A 10-minute drive took an hour and a half, and now you're getting there 20 minutes before game time. What are your recommendations? Is there your 5-minute normal technique, and how do you get focused when you're late to the game, you got pulled over, you had a flat tire? How do you change that for a game when the unexpected happens pregame?
So we recognize that things are out of our control. Oh, this is an opportunity for me to practice mindfulness and positive self-talk and reassurance around some adversity just got thrown my way.
Yeah.
I now have the opportunity to sit in my car for an hour and a half. I have an opportunity. So what am I going to do? Do I listen to a podcast that's reassuring? Do I put on my music that I know will like get me into my zone or keep me in my zone through the rest of the ride? Do I turn everything off and just sit and have a break? Like there's nothing you can do about it.
Right.
And then there's like all this self-talk that's probably this chatter that's going on, like, oh my God, I'm gonna be late. I might be fired, or like I'm not gonna call a good game now. They're gonna think this about me.
Right.
We need to thought stop. That's a technique where we stop our thoughts literally, replace them with more affirming thoughts to move us through this situation that's totally out of our control. Like I got this. I've reffed games before. I don't
Right.
need a warm up. I know how to do this. What can I reach for now or pull over, or like you're already in traffic? What can I reach for now to actually fuel and hydrate myself as I would if I was at the field? We have to pivot. We're resilient. And so we don't let setbacks keep us from what we know we can do or keep us from ourselves. We can't be critical. We can't judge. We just got to go. Like, this is the card I'm dealt. Like, how am I going to play it?
Right. It's a great point, Lisa, because I know when I've had this situation before, and we're stuck, and all we can talk about the whole time is how mad we are and why didn't we leave earlier, and is there a better way to get around traffic? And we never focused on, okay, let's take this as an opportunity to set. Let's talk about the teams. Take the deep breath. We never took our deep breath, and you can imagine how the how the rest of the game went, or how the game went. So we were focused on the negative.
And then you don't feel good about yourself. Why are you going to beat yourself up? You get enough of that from the players, coaches, and the fans throughout the whole match.
Right. Absolutely. One thing, Kevin Claren kind of beat me to it from a pregame technique. I was thinking about, there's one AR who used to literally kneel in front of his locker and close his eyes for 5 minutes. There's another one that had a stuffed animal that would do things. There's another one laid out 6 pieces of spearmint gum, and if one piece of gum was out of place, he would go quite crazy. So with these various are superstitions a good thing? And would you encourage these? Would you encourage these routines? And how might they be helping or hindering our performance? So thank you for that question, by the way.
Yeah, if we talk about ritual or like superstitions or sort of, they are not, they can have a placebo effect.
Okay.
They are not effective from a research evidence-based practice perspective.
Oh, interesting.
Unless you have, it has to be facilitative. So a breath, there's science behind that. The body-mind connection, the brain is calming down and settling in. You're able to access your body, your decision-making better when you take that breath.
Right.
Nothing can happen if you put 6 spearmint gum pieces down there or 5. There's no science behind that.
Right.
But if you want to do that, I don't want you to only do that. Do
Good. Oh,
something that's
great point.
actually effective.
Right. Don't only do. I love that.
And you know what I mean? Like, and
Yeah.
I get it. I get it. I know a lot of athletes in different sports, and like there's a lot of people who, die by their ritual or whatever. But
Right.
it could be all, if you already have the discipline to do that, if you apply it to something that was actually effective, like look where you could be.
Yeah. Did you just say my lucky undershirt is just a placebo and that I can move on from it at this point after? Okay. All right. Good to know. Um, I've asked a lot about pregame. Now, when things don't go so right, how you handle them. Now, John is asking the question about moving on from a mistake. We're going to have VAR a lot more prevalent.
Prevalent.
Oh gosh,
You're turning into an English teacher now. That's
basic English. Oh my gosh, I went to a math school, so as you can tell.
oh, that's funny.
But it's not just for those with video review. It's also referees know when, I don't think I got that one right, or they crisscross with their teammate. After making a mistake like that you know is a mistake, is there a best first step to do or first thing you do after you make that, after you realize you made a mistake, but you still have 70 minutes to go in the game, or even 10 minutes to go in the game?
One of my colleagues says it really, really great, and it's become, a very recommended way of doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Flush it.
I'll crush it.
No, flush it.
Oh, flush it.
You got a
Sorry.
toilet. You got a toilet.
Yeah.
You're going to put your mistake in there and flush the darn thing. You're going to let it go as soon as you can.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do about it now.
Right.
The more that you focus on shoulda, coulda, woulda, you're using all your energy to focus on the 70 minutes to 10 minutes left in the match that needs your full attention to call for the rest of the time.
Right.
So letting go of mistakes is simple, is that like, what is your method? Is it, okay, I'm gonna flush it? Is it, I'm gonna go like this? If you have a release cue, sports psychology, we have what's called release cues, a behavioral technique that you assign, doesn't matter what it is, but you put the meaning to it when you let go. It could be pulling up a right sock. It could be, kneeling down. Like our guys do a lot of different things, but the referees, you can choose whatever you want to do. Pull one of your cards, put it back, adjust your whistle strap, whatever. Some kind of cue that's like, okay, that means to me and that means to my brain. And I'm going to keep telling my brain this is what it means to let go of that.
Right.
And to expect you will make some kind of mistake in a game. Why are you going to be surprised?
Yeah. And Lisa, to that point,
as small as that might be though, Corey, you know what I mean?
yeah. Do you save that just for me? It's I didn't realize this until you just started talking, but I take my knuckle and I get my pressure point in the leg and I knock it real quick, but it's only reserved for those flush it circumstances. So I won't do it. I may go a month and then give myself and then it's flushed and then I move on. So do you only reserve it for those flushing circumstances, or what are your thoughts there?
I love that a lot of times my players, and it sounds like referees too, already do something that they're probably not even really aware that they do.
Yeah.
And so you put that meaning on it that when I do that,
Yeah.
I'm releasing it or I'm letting go, I'm flushing. You can have different kinds of techniques for different ones. I would like you to have one go-to one. There's already so many things to think about, but one go-to one that you have for the release of the mistake.
Right.
Whatever it is, it doesn't matter what it is. It means it means that you chose it and you put the meaning behind it. And that's what it means for you.
Right.
Your crew might have something else, and that's fine. I would love every ref to have one.
Good. I like it. Combining with what you said with the breathing earlier, does the deep breath also come in at that point?
It can. There is no, like someone told me, like, when's the best time to breathe? When's the best time to meditate? Mm-hmm. You know, my answer is anytime.
Yeah.
Anytime. When you are conscious that you're breathing in, it's just I'm not going to geek out on the science behind it, but it like regulates your heart rate, decreases your blood pressure, tells your brain you're not in fight or flight where you have to hurry up and rush stuff. You're more calm. Your decisions are going to be clearer.
Right.
And your calls are going to be more accurate, actually, in the end.
Right. Excellent. That's great. I know I'm going to talk one more about pregame. Then I'll talk a little more about balancing all the schedules and work schedules and things like that. But, David asks, players and coaches sometimes take our stern talk. Why would a player do that? Does it make soccer sense? How often do we need to soften our sternness when we're talking to a player, talking to a coach? And I think what David is getting at here is how do we be the calm, cool, and collected one when our emotions are up to here and our boiling point is right about here?
Yeah, I think it's a great question. And I don't want to be like a parrot and like saying the same thing over and over again. Like she's saying the same thing over and over again. Like
Yeah,
I think before you address anyone, even yourself, there's a small breath, like a space, a pause, even just a
yeah,
pause. Because if your boiling point is here and you're up here and you want to like address a player or a coach, wouldn't it be much better if you could just take the time to get to here?
yeah,
It's going to be that much more effective. It only takes a second. But the self-awareness to integrate that pause or that breath is something that needs to be trained on and practice. It's not going to be like easy all of a sudden, just like with any new skill.
right,
But I think, in my observation and work with referees, there's a lot of hand movements too and body language that can be a part of what you're trying to communicate that doesn't have to come from your voice. That's
right,
also just as effective. And so integrating and learning how you communicate and that, they're going to yell at you.
yeah,
And so know that,
yes,
know it, and don't be surprised by it. But like also take care of yourself, have that moment because you want to be living in your values when you're on the pitch, right? You want to execute your profession in a way you feel proud of again, right?
right,
So when you look back or think about or reflect, which is another exercise I'd want people to do, reflect back on your match. What are the areas I still want to grow in? What was I proud of that day? What was I proud of my crew that day? Like what do I want to build on? So you're going to lose your temper sometimes. How do you bring it back down before you let the result of that temper come out onto someone else?
right. I like that. I like that. We've kind of addressed talking pregame. We've talked about the stressful situations. We've talked about the deep breaths. What about there's a game going along and you're on cruise control and it's a little bit of a lull, and then how do we maintain focus? And any tips or tricks for maintaining focus when the game is kind of getting into a lull so that we're ready where if it's the 85th minute, it's been a 0-0 game, and all of a sudden we
Yeah.
have a penalty kick decision.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think you all who are refs, and probably a lot of you are consider yourselves athletes, that we have to like get into our zone and stay there. And
Yeah.
some of us can use that lull to take a break outside of our zone.
Hmm.
We don't emphasize enough the importance of break even, in match play while it's on.
Yeah.
Jog a little slower, take that breath, like you don't have to like, that's how the game flows anyway. Not every player is on and needs to access their zone every time. There's
Right.
those moments and lulls, right? But knowing what it takes to get you, just as we learned how to get you kind of off a boiling point into simmer maybe, and then execute, we need to know what's going to get us up for the moment as well.
Right.
If that's invigorating thoughts, invigorating songs that you can play in your head, or some other cue to get you up and back, like communicating with your brain, talking to yourself, like it's okay to sort of chill right now because we're preserving and reserving for later when it might pick up. But
Right.
what you need to do to get yourself back up.
I like it.
We see them warm up. It's almost like a warm up again, right? Like
Right.
do like stretches. Do we run in place? Do we jump? Do we like what do we need to do kind of subtly as a
Right.
ref? You're running to kind of get you back in there. And even the self-talk, like I'm over here tapping my leg. So that was very automatic. Like the self-talk, like I'm good. I'm ready for whatever's here. I'm ready. I'm
Right.
ready right now. There's value in me being in the lull.
Right.
I can do that. I need to be here just as much as anything else because something can happen at the, drop of a dime.
Right. Right.
And number one, I mean, I'm not taking it from your referee books, but I have to say it's probably everyone's safety. So that's
Yeah.
what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
Keep everybody
Absolutely.
safe, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Good stuff. So now we've had the game, and whether what you've already talked about the reflection afterwards. But sometimes a call, a game that didn't go well can really sit. I know for me personally, if I messed up a call, I don't sleep for several nights. And I think I see the question from Bradley. I think that is talking about the emotional experience of a sport and how to deal with that afterwards. What are some techniques for those like me that lose sleep over a bad call. Yes, I know we can say it's just a game, but we're so dedicated doing the best we can at all times possible, but we can't be perfect all the time. So I know, once again, I know there's no one size fits all, but what's kind of a starting point or best practice when we're talking about post game when things maybe didn't go as expected?
So I'm using the fact that you ref that is your profession. Okay. This is your profession. So with any job, you need to transition away from your job. So when you go home or into the rest of your lives, you're not taking your work home, because that's what's happening.
Yes.
You're taking your work home. So there needs to be some transitional activities, moments, time in between the minute you blow the last whistle all the way to when you arrive at your front door, whatever that might be, whether it's the hotel, your house, whatever, for that game.
Yeah.
Filling that space with activities that are going to calm you and get you ready to leave work and get ready for this next phase of the evening, day, interaction with family, friends, whatever.
Right.
What I would recommend is, once you are, so you leave the match, and I'm like playing in the head what the players do. So you shower, you have your arrival fits, you have all the things too.
Right.
So while you are preparing to leave the match day, and this is for professionals, so I'm sorry, I'm not
no problem,
the youth and the collegiate, but I'm walking through my head like what it could be like from that last whistle to standing, waiting for the players to come, shake your hand, you're escorted off. Like every single transition is something for you to do that gets you closer to calm.
Closer to calm. I like that.
Right? Closer to, I'm done with my job. I just finished it. So does that mean also singing a song in the shower? Does it mean, changing into a fit that's really calming for you? Does it mean when you're driving to your next destination, you put on a certain kind of music or a podcast or an inspirational talk or something like that? You are readying yourself for calm. Here's an example for the parents out there. The sleep routine that you put your kids through, right? Wash your face, brush your teeth, get a book, read a book, and then they're snoring, right? At every stage, when you do the same thing every night for all these years, right? Their brain is already orienting to, oh, I know what's happening next. After we brush our teeth, we're putting our PJs on. Then we're picking a book. Oh, she's getting closer. She's getting closer. So if you do the same thing every time, the body's going to help you and the brain's going to help you to calm and get you ready for that next stage of your life that's away from the match, so you can fully rest. And that's a whole nother section of our talk, rest and sleep, and how important that is for you guys.
Right. Do you want to take a brief moment on that? How important is sleep versus getting an extra hour of running and the weight room?
So important. Oh my God. So there's research, and every human is different. Corey and I have already talked about that.
Yeah.
8 hours is so important. 7 to 8. There's a research study recently that over 2 weeks, they took people who slept 4 to 6 hours and those who slept 8 hours over a 2-week period. Those people in the 4 to 6 hours at the 2-week mark, their reaction time was like someone who was drunk.
Oh, interesting. Interesting. Very interesting. Very underrated for sure.
And sleep deprivation is a torture technique.
Yeah. Great point. Very interesting.
So much that we need sleep for. Our cells regenerate, our brains rest to come back and focus and concentrate fully. Like that, it's so, in this society, it's so underrated. Like, oh, we gotta go. We can sleep when we die, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
You die because you didn't sleep. There's so many health ramifications to it. I'm such a proponent of it. I've done a lot of research and talked to some experts about it. So key.
Yeah. So key. I unappreciated sleep until recently. Because I'm wearing glasses, I'm getting older and all that stuff, and I need more sleep. But really, Tom Brady, I think, was one who really said, he has a routine, just like you said. Here's what we do, and I think that's important. That you said that, and it's what made him so successful. That his nutrition, his sleep, and his workout routine was all in a line.
Corey, you know who else speaks about it, LeBron James. I don't
Oh,
even
interesting.
James, LeBron. He works his whole schedule around his naps.
Yeah,
If he has a 10 a.m. game, he's still going to nap before the 10 a.m. game and back it up, even if
right,
his nap is like from 2 to 3 a.m. because he stayed up to accommodate for that.
right, right.
This He's so intense, and we see how successful he is and how his body is still working for him.
Absolutely. A lot of people, because we're college referees, we don't do this year round. We do it 3.5 to 4 months out of the year. So
Yeah.
we may be leaving work at 3 p.m. So several people have asked about the work-life balance. And how do we transition to leaving our job at 3 p.m. to drive an hour and a half up to Truett McConnell in North Georgia to be ready for a 5 o'clock kickoff, or getting on a plane, or whatever the case may be. But most of us don't get on planes, so I'll say just driving, getting on the road and driving. How do we turn off the work brain, turn on the soccer profession brain, and then vice versa, and then unwind that to get back to our job that pays the bills, or school for those that may still be in school, or whatever. So
Yeah. I think making that transition routine as fun as and symbolic and meaningful as possible. So for example, if you're working or going to school, let's say, and you're getting off at 3, change your clothes out of the work clothes. Before you get in the car, put on a comfy, like hour and a half, 2 hour car ride, comfy outfit. Put on some music, have snacks. Don't don't bombard your mind with the thoughts that you just left. We're on to a different moment now.
Interesting.
Different identity. If you even want to, I wear hats all the time, literally take a different hat off, put it on.
Yeah.
If you arrive to your destination, then you're going to go whatever bathroom's available and change. And then you're more into like game mode then at that point.
Yeah.
You could be doing part of your pre-match routine in the car, if that is your situation. Saying your positive affirmations, saying doing some open-eyed visualization for how you want the match to go, not in a ruminating, overthinking way.
Right.
Get us in trouble more, but in a light, this is how I want it to go way.
Right.
But the symbolic, the songs change, the snacks change, etc. All of that marks a different hat that you wear.
I like it.
Because you have many identities. You're not just ref, right? And they're all important. And being able to be in all those different identities helps you be a better ref.
I like it. All the different hats, and we're trying to be, this is a question that came in before, we're trying to be perfect at all of the above, of course. The athletes want us to be perfect. I'm sure your Oakland Roots players, they want to be perfect. They want to go undefeated for the season. But as referees, how can we work on striving for perfection in matches from the need for perfection as we go on? And how do we, I'm trying to think the motive behind the question, but how do we strive for perfection, but we know we're not going to have a perfect game no matter who it is. What is how do we mentally prepare for perfection, and then deal with it once we get in game and post game?
I mean, please don't.
Right. Yeah. That's kind of what I wanted you to say. Exactly.
I think I'm gonna need pain saying it, but perfection in my world is a profanity. Don't use that word.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not attainable. It's not realistic. What does it even mean?
Right.
We want to focus on the process, the journey, over the outcome.
Right.
Again, what is going to make you a better ref or feel better about yourself from last match to this match, or last month to this month, or last year to this year? We mark our goals. We set goals, actually, that are smart, in a SMART goal format: specific, realistic, attainable. What am I? SMAR, realistic, time bound.
Right.
Have to be in our control.
Yeah.
So if we were to bring in another pre-match skill, writing down the 2 things you want to bring to this match. It's 100% effort, clarity, and thought. Whatever you want to bring, you're going to harness that for this match. We, in the reflection time, which can be part of our post competition routine, is how do I feel about those 2 goals? What did I learn about myself in striving for those goals? How can I improve next time?
Yeah. I love that. That's almost, we're right up against time, and I you answered the question way better than I asked it about the perfection, which is, it's a 4-letter word, but I love kind of the last one, focus on the journey versus the outcome. That is so great. And if you focus on the journey, the outcome more times than not will be desirable, correct?
Yes, yes, for sure, for
Yeah,
sure. Yes,
perfect, perfect. Maybe there's one more in the last 30 seconds
sure.
for teammates, whether it's our referee teammates, your Oakland Roots teammates. How do we pick them up? Is it our responsibility? Is it, does it fall within this topic that we're talking about, or is it more just say, hey, here's something I try for mental preparation?
Learn them. Be curious and learn them.
Yeah, that's
And
great.
ask. Ask away from the moment. When you are down or when I see you're not at your best or I see that you're not yourself.
Right,
You want me to be with you.
right. So great. So great. All comes back. Lisa, this was fantastic. We have people asking if it was recorded, they can access this later to reference. I think you're quite all right with that. I know we're going to post it from an ISOA standpoint. We're going to make it available to the public for any for any sport, any referee group, etc. Lisa, can you just, if people want more information, can you tell us your website and company one more time? I know it's in the top right corner.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, go
I
ahead.
mean, people like you can find me on Instagram under my name,
Oh,
Lisa
perfect.
Tasumi. I have Instagram Mindset because I know the youngins like to access people that way. What I'm going to offer to anyone who listens to this and cites it that you listen to this today, a 20-minute free consultation on whatever around mindset, mental health, and sports you want. If
Oh,
you reference this, you can email me too. But website and IG, you'll always find me, and then I'll probably move you to. You can find me in LinkedIn. Then I'll probably
yeah,
move you to my email because it's easier for me to keep track of everything.
yeah.
But I
Lisa,
will offer that in honor of Mental Health Awareness Month. I don't want anybody to feel like they can't access the answers to their questions and get proper education. So please, I will not turn anyone away. If you want a 20-minute consultation, it might not be tomorrow or the next day, but I'll make it happen.
oh, that's fantastic. I mean, Lisa, I've taken so many notes, mental rehearsal, writing a script, finding a quiet place, how things can get the release, with the flush it moments. I said crush it. I guess you can crush it if it's like a can, but the
Plus,
flush
it's
it
more
moment.
fun.
Absolutely, absolutely. Taking it as an opportunity, and I love the last quote you had, which is focus on the journey versus the outcome. I mean, there's so much. I know, for 45 minutes you packed so much in, and the comments are saying, "Wow, thank you so much, awesome opportunity. We really appreciate it, Lisa." And this is going to help. Even if it helps just one, I hope it helps all 240 plus who joined the call. But even just one or two that has a little better season, a little better game next time they have a
Yes.
tough situation,
Yeah,
I think we have a win here.
I agree. I couldn't agree more.
And Lisa, if you ever want to attend any of NYSOA's 10 presentations on handball or offside, you're always most welcome.
I appreciate that very generous offer. I appreciate it
No, but thank you once again to
so much.
Lisa. If for those who want to do a quick thank you to Lisa in the Q&A, even though it's not a Q&A, please put it in. And Lisa, I hope we can stay in touch, and looking forward to checking out your Instagram and other ways. And thank you once again.
Thanks, Corey, for having me. Thanks, Adriana, for planning all this, and all the best to you guys. I hope to be in touch.
Absolutely. Take care, Lisa. Next webinar will not be near as fun as this one. It'll be June 11th, and we can't wait to see you for the last one there. Take care, everyone. Bye bye. Bye, Lisa.